In the middle half of the 19th century, more than half of the population of Ireland emigrated to the United States of America. 4,780,891 Irish immigrated to the US. This was a lot compared to the immigrants from Japan and Sweden, but the United Kingdom had more immigrants. Huge numbers of starving and sick Irish tried to escape certain death in Ireland by enduring dreadful conditions on vessels that later became known as coffin ships. Few Irish have already begun to move to America when they saw commercials and posters informing them of the wonders of the United States. It wasn't until the Great Potato Famine began sweeping across Ireland that millions of Irish started immigrating to the US. The farmers depended on potatoes in Ireland. It was the main dietary staple. When the famine began in 1845, the leaves of the potatoes turned black. 3/4 of the crops were destroyed, leaving people without food and money. New York was the principal entry point. 75% of famine immigrants landed on the harbor. They did not have much money, so they could not afford to go far from the coast. Negative stereotypes were imported from England, characterizing the Irish as pugnacious, drunken, and dirty. Many cartoons depicted the Irish as small, ugly creatures armed with liquor. Because of these labels, Irish immigrants were blamed for the problems with the economy and were held responsible for the unfavorable views towards American society. The prejudice towards Irish immigrants was based on the fear of foreigners, unemployment, and the fact that the majority of Irish were Catholic. There were many religious issues between the Irish Catholics and the Protestant Americans. Anti-foreign and anti-Catholic mobs attacked convents and riots broke out. One of the most famous anti-Catholic, nativist, and anti-Irish gangs were the Bowery Boys. Their main competition were the Dead Rabbits. This gang was filled with Irish immigrants and was one of the most feared gangs to emerge from the Five Points. Irish Catholics were shunned by landlords and shop owners. They were denied work in the factories. There were signs on store windows that read, "Help Wanted, No Irish Need Apply." A song was inspired out of these signs. Irish Americans later adapted the lyrics to reflect the discrimination they felt in America. Because the Irish were viewed so negatively, they stayed together in slums. These ghettos were filled with filth, disease, and crime. Many Irish spoke English, so it was easy to assimilate with Americans. The main problem for Irish immigrants was the lack of skill. Immigration to the United States exploded in the 1800s due to the Second Industrial Revolution that required unskilled labor to man the factories. The Irish were basically the only ethnic group that took these extremely low-paying jobs. These jobs included working on railway tracks, building bridges, and more. Attitudes towards the Irish had begun to change when thousands of them participated in the Civil War. Things really changed when Al Smith, the grandson of Irish immigrants, became the governor of New York in the 1920s. Irish Americans were confident and proud to call themselves Irish, and the prejudice and hatred seemed to slowly recede.